Self-Care Solutions, your solution to self-care. This is the app for meditation, so breathe in and out. Very good. Breathe in and breathe out. Excellent. Now breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. Keep going. Breathe in. Breathe in.
I can't breathe
What?
in anymore.
What was that?
I can't breathe in anymore.
Yes, you can. Just breathe in.
I can't breathe in
Yes, you can. Breathe in. Try eating the air. There you go. Eat it. Now, once you're done eating it, hold your breath for 17, 16.
Why are you starting so hot?
What? You made me lose my train of thought. I'll have to start over. 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 2, 1. Breathe out. Are you breathing out? I'm gonna have to start over. 17, 16.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Hi.
Popcorn poppin'. Live, where things can go wrong, but things can go right. I am your host, Tony. Well, man, in the preseason of Popcorn Poppin'. What is the preseason? Well, it's frankly, you'll notice that I've been doing like season 0, episode 0 point something. It's because we haven't actually started the show, even though we've been doing episodes for the past 3 years. Because besides the Halloween episode, we haven't actually done what I've wanted to do with the show. So, no, it shall change soon. And if you haven't been here before, welcome back to Popcorn Poppin' Live, your streaming guide. You can probably tell I'm trying to, what's the word? Stall. Come on, go to the right. It's been so long since I've done this. It's been a whole 2 weeks. Welcome back to Popcorn Poppin' Live, yours. Well, let's get this really in place. I thought I was so ready, huh? Your weekly movie, TV, and streaming guide. You don't have time to figure out what to watch. There's too much content in the world, and you can't be wasting your time. So let me be the time waster for you by watching all that looks vaguely interesting and letting you know what's popping and what ain't. Tonight, we shall be going immediately over to our Spotlight films, which we got to go all the way to the first. What are our Spotlight films? Well, there's a few films that are in theaters that I haven't seen, and we will talk briefly about why I didn't see them. And I'll tell you right now, the reason mostly is I didn't have time. It's been a crazy 2 weeks. And last week we weren't on because I've been to the dealership over and over again. You don't need to know this. In fact, you probably already shut it off from me trying to explain things to you. So let's just go right into Roadhouse. Jeez, I got to really shake off the cobwebs. Hopefully no one watches this episode. What's Roadhouse, you may ask? Well, this one is with ex-UFC fighter Dalton, who takes a job as a bouncer at Florida Keys Roadhouse, only to discover that his paradise is not all it seems. This remake stars Jake Gyllenhaal as Dalton. And also, and if you haven't seen the original with Patrick Swayze, I highly recommend it. It is definitely, spoiler alert, way better than this one. This one's fun, and the original is fun, and it's ridiculous. And this one's ridiculous too. But this one is like a different gene of weirdness, of weird like comedy. But it's very obvious it's forcibly trying to be funny, whilst the old Roadhouse did things very seriously that were so ridiculous it was funny. So I think this one leaned a little too much into a little too far into comedy, but it was still fun nonetheless. Nonetheless. That's weird. Got to add an E and none. Anyways, Jake Gyllenhaal was a lot of fun. I thought he did a good job. Conor McGregor was actually very good in this. I don't follow UFC at all, but I did think he was very funny. He's always there with a smile, like, all right, what are we going to do now? Where am I going to fuck up now? Like, at first, I hated him, but I eventually grew to accept him a little bit. So, good job, Conor McGregor. I would watch more movies with you. Jessica Williams, one of my wives that was stolen from me by Hollywood, is very, very good in this, although a little underused, but her role is just the bar owner who's not in the movie very much, but it's still good to see that she's getting some roles in films too. Now, before we talk about the story structure, let's talk a little bit about how they did the cinematography. Doug Liman did this film, who did the original Bourne Identity, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Edge of Tomorrow, great film, definitely watch it. And more recently, what did he do most recently? I can't actually remember. Is it important? Yes, it is, because his last two films weren't that good. One of them being, he did Jumper, he did American Made, which I kind of like those movies. What was his most recent film? Oh, he directed Swingers. I didn't know that. What was the last? Oh, Chaos Walking. Not a great film. Locked Down, I enjoyed. Locked Down was with Chiwetel Ejiofor and Anne Hathaway. It was like the first COVID movie released during COVID. I actually dug it. I thought it was a good romance, and it was filmed very well, especially under COVID, practices or whatever. Anyways, so the reason I bring up the director is the director tries to do new things. And remember, the cinematography in Bourne Identity was kind of new. We didn't do as much shaky cam fight choreography until Bourne Identity. And I'm sure that kind of camera work had been done before Bourne Identity, but Bourne Identity definitely popularized it. Roadhouse does something different with their fight choreography as well. And that is, the camera is always moving, always super close to characters, and is always in the fight. And it kind of makes you feel almost claustrophobic in a way. Not like uncomfortability for the audience to watch, but it's different. I highly recommend to at least watch the trailer to get the feel of what I'm talking about, because we've seen this kind of camera work more and more in action films, but this one really cranks it to 11 and tries to do it in its own unique way. And for that, I respect it. But the more they did it, the more weird CGI they did, because there's a lot of wild scenes of, like, not necessarily getting hit by a car, but think of something like that, like crazy boat crashes. Jake Gyllenhaal he does get hit by a truck at one point. And that's where the real bad CGI came in. Now, they use a lot of CGI in this with punch lands or landing blows, pause. But sometimes, most of the time it looks good, but there's a lot of time it looks really bad. And I'm talking Blade 2 weird CGI bad. Watch the film just out of curiosity of what I'm talking about, because it gets really bad. In any case, besides the bad, weird CGI scenes, the storytelling is ridiculous, and it's not a film that you're supposed to be, cracking open a book from film class and yelling at the screen like, you're doing this wrong. This doesn't make sense. What character development is this? It is supposed to be ridiculous, but it leans into the comedic effect of ridiculousness, as opposed to, let's take a ridiculous idea seriously, because nothing is taken very seriously in this film, which makes Jake Gyllenhaal's Dalton more likable and charismatic. But Patrick Swayze's was more mysterious and reserved. So they're very, very two different lanes. He's not a professional bouncer. He just happens to be an ex-UFC fighter. And there's other differences as well. I would just recommend to watch the original Roadhouse. In the very least, don't watch this by itself. I think that you wouldn't. I mean, you could watch this by itself. I just think you wouldn't respect it as much. I think it did a good job staying in its own lane without trying to recreate the original film, which I think a lot of remakes should do, but they should also respect the original films, because I found it very disrespectful that there is not one throat snatch in this whole film. So if you're going to watch it for that, no, it doesn't happen. You can watch this on Prime right now. Poppin' or not, I'd say it's poppin'. I think it's poppin' like entertaining wise. You don't have to think too much about it. You can have it on in the background, and you will have a good time, even if you don't like the film. I damn near guarantee it. Late Night with the Devil. All right. So I decided to go see this movie in theaters. When I watched the trailer, which I don't know if you know what this movie is. Maybe I should tell you. In 1977, a live television broadcast goes horribly wrong, unleashing evil into the nation's living rooms. So the structure of this film is almost found footage-esque. The opening begins with a narrator showing you footage of this super popular talk show from the 70s that was in competition with Johnny Carson Live, and gives you like how its run has been going over the years, how it gained popularity, how it lost popularity with the death of the character of the talk show's host's wife, how they lost ratings when the talk show host came back. They could never reclaim the magic. And the rest of the film takes place in one night. And what you're watching is the footage of that aired live broadcast on Halloween night, 1977. And they also, every time they go to commercial break, the movie becomes behind the scene footage. And it's really just, you can tell that the director was like, I don't know how we're going to explain. Like, two people have a very private conversation, but there's a camera there recording the whole time. But the way it's translated on film is it's in black and white to help indicate that someone from the studio recorded them without knowing, when it's very prevalent that they would notice a camera this close to them. So there are camera angles that make that narrative structure not make sense, but this isn't a movie you're supposed to think too hard about. That's just something I noticed that I found unique in storytelling. It's just, it kind of didn't make sense, but you shouldn't think too hard about that. When I watched the trailer, I knew that this was an excellent idea for a story. I knew that the pacing would be very important from beginning to end for us to actually feel like we're watching an old, corny talk show episode. However, it was still kind of slow leading up to that. You're down with the pacing, but a lot of people in the theater were like bored. And there were a lot of people in the theater because this movie wasn't in a lot of theaters and it didn't have many show times. So a lot of people were there because they probably saw all the rave reviews and Rotten Tomato 100% score ratings. And the reason I really wanted to talk about this tonight was to let you know that it's bullshit sometimes that a movie is going to be good because it's 100% Rotten Tomato rating. I guarantee people, I don't guarantee this, but I believe that maybe some people were paid to make it a rating, or not paid, but like highly encouraged to give it a 100% rating because a lot of people take Rotten Tomato scores as law, which is really, really stupid. I hate when I tell someone about a movie and the first thing they do is look it up, which is fine, but go, it's got this on Rotten Tomatoes, so maybe I will watch it. I became that guy. And I'm not really dogging anyone that does that because Rotten Tomatoes is supposed to be by the audience, but there's no way in hell that 100% of people that saw this movie thought that it was A+. It's not A+ because it's kind of boring. The people in the theater were like moving around like, all right, come on. It is a streaming horror film. And I'm not trying to take away from the independent greatness of it because I really, really respected that an independent film had so many people in the theater to go see it for a very original idea. It's just, it's not that great. And it should have went, I'm not going to say it should have went straight to streaming because I will say every great streaming film deserves to also have a soft theater premiere as well. Maybe every movie, I lied. Every movie deserves a soft theater presence. So I'm not dogging the movie for trying to make some money in theaters, which it did make some bread in theaters. But this is definitely a movie, I will tell you. It's popping, but for streaming, because you're going to want to walk around and stuff. It is like watching an old episode of live TV, which is good in the sense of capturing a certain essence of what you're watching, but bad for entertainment regards. The little girl who plays the possessed one with the devil in her, I thought she did a pretty good job. I thought the girl on the right, who's like the possession speaker, I guess medium, I guess you'd call her a medium. I thought she was very good. I don't have her name on here, but the star has been making some good waves with films like Suicide Squad. He was in Dune, and he's always playing like usually little bit characters, but I thought Suicide Squad was a big character for him. This is a pretty huge character for him as well, and he's a lot more quiet and reserved as opposed to his previous works where he's usually playing like a weird guy or a rambunctious, maybe not rambunctious, but like overt lad. But I thought he did a very good job in this. David Dasmalakjan. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Something tells me I am. Poppin' or not, I think it's poppin'. It's just stream it, and it's not, you don't have to watch it. The biggest issue was at the very end, there's like a 8-minute scene where a lot of shit like doesn't make sense, and he's in hell, and it's a lot of random shots. When you watch the trailer, you'll see most of the random shots in this 8-minute thing, and I knew it was going to happen. And in any case, it could have been worked on a little more. I think it definitely could be remade into something much better, but props to the filmmakers that did this, because you always got to respect independent films, especially when they make any sort of news. And this movie definitely is all, they did good marketing for it anyway. Next, Immaculate. I watched 2 movies in theaters in one day because of how busy I've been. Immaculate was the first. I wasn't excited to watch it because I was like, I don't know. I keep wrestling with whether or not I like Sydney Sweeney. Now, I will give her flowers immediately. I loved this. I'm going to say I loved this movie. I didn't fully enjoy watching it. The first half specifically, excellent pacing, realistic character development with her, almost realistic character choices. And, you know, with thriller horror movies and the female lead playing that final girl, like opening a door very closely, or walking around a house with a candle very slowly, or hearing someone scream their head off and approach slowly is very annoying. I know they're doing it for suspense, and yeah, sure, it worked because it made me go, come on, open the door. But it wasn't, come on, open the door, I gotta know what's behind it. It was, come on, man, let's go. I want to keep going. Like, I was getting irritated. If you're religious, I want you to watch this movie and let me know what you think, because I think a lot of religious people probably didn't like this movie. Cecilia, a woman of devout faith, is warmly welcomed to the picture-perfect Italian countryside, where she is offered a new role at an illustrious convent. But it becomes clear to Cecilia that her new home harbors dark and horrifying secrets. This doesn't even tell you what it's really about. A nun becomes a nun, and all of a sudden becomes pregnant when she didn't bang anyone. This is also chopped up into trimesters, which is a pretty clever way to be like third trimester, second. It was interesting. And it is like, how did this happen? And something seems afoot at this convent. Without giving anything away, I will say when you watch the movie, it's very prevalent what's going on. I will say that. It is very easy to, well, not easy to tell. I think I spaced out on how exactly it happened, but who or what that did the Immaculate conceiving was explained and it's easy to discover. And even so, it was still interesting. It was still good. It's just there's just some scenes that drove me nuts with slowness. And Sydney Sweeney was great in it. Like I don't know if there's like if I think it's just that season of Euphoria, man. That latest season and that focus on that character. You're not supposed to necessarily like her. You're supposed to try to empathize with her. But I hated her so much, and I also hated how much screen time she got as opposed to the heavyset girl, because I preferred to know more about her. So I guess I'm just holding against Sydney Sweeney forever now. And I know I told you guys before, Nocturne, I thought was like a decent horror movie with an excellent ending that I made me very proud of her and enjoy her acting. This film, same thing. Her acting's very good. Acting, eyes are very important. And when you got beautiful, huge blue eyes like she does, it's good that you can use them well. And I think that she did very well with that, with looking fucking terrified and with the end. Now, the end of the movie is insane. There are a few insane scenes in this where I was like, holy shit. Like, I had the theater to myself. No one went to see this movie. I don't think they advertised it very well, but they also probably don't want to advertise it too much because I feel like the subject matter is very, very controversial, but I haven't heard any controversy with this movie. I just think that they just didn't advertise it enough, or maybe the church tried to bury it more, because I'm sure churches don't want anyone to see this. It's wild, man. It's wild, but the end is even wilder. Now, if you haven't seen Pearl, starring Mia Goth, the sequel to X, the last scene has one shot of her staring into the camera, smiling for like 7 minutes. And there's also a shot towards the end. It's a very long monologue, too long if you ask me, where Mia Goth crushed it, and it was one take. Excellent job. It was way too long. The other one take is kind of, I would say, I don't know if prolific's the right word, extremely famous. Like, I think that will go down in cinema history. This ending reminded me of that. I won't tell you what happens, but she screams her fucking head off for a long time, and I've never seen more realistic screaming in her situation ever. Like, I saw her pain. Her pain was there, and holy shit, Sydney Sweeney, great job. Apparently, and other things happen in this one take as well. And she crushed it. The director did a very good job specifically with that scene. And I don't want to judge a film specifically on its ending alone, but I will say great fucking ending, dark as hell, and overall well-made movie. Just too many like, what's going on? Let me investigate scenes. Doesn't need to move faster. Just don't do that, you know? And if she hears a woman screaming, she shouldn't be trying to be quiet unless like you show the viewer it's dangerous if she makes herself known. You buy that, but I think like anyone in our situation that would hear someone screaming like that, we would run towards that and be like, what the fuck? What the fuck's going on? Especially a nun. I don't know. Anyways, popping or not, popping. Absolutely popping. Check it out. Just know there is a lot of annoying slow scenes, and if you're religious, you're probably not going to enjoy it. This is in theaters now. Oh, Nocturne, that film I was just talking about, I think is worth a watch, specifically for the ending, much more than the whole film itself. But what's it about? An incredibly gifted pianist makes a fall. I just watch it. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. This is on Hulu or Amazon. Whoops. And this is in theaters. Oh, and also a couple interesting facts, which made me actually respect Sydney Sweeney more. When someone has a producer credit, it could be like, oh, well, hey, it could be the studio being like, hey, can we put your name on this movie so more people will go see it? You don't have to do anything. And people be like, yeah, sure. And you get paid? Yeah, sure. Well, apparently she had auditioned for this film in 2014 and the project never materialized. Years later, she took on the role of a producer and reached out to the writer, acquired and revised the script, hired a director, found financiers, and sold the film to Neon. So I actually really dig the business aspect that she did in order for this film to be made. That's some really admirable movie star shit right there, where if the studio doesn't want to make the film and you really, really want to make it yourself. And I dig that. So I found a lot of respect for her because of this movie. Yeah. In theaters now. All right, new shows that came out include Three Body Problem, which is about a fateful decision in 1960s China echoes across space and time to a group of scientists in the present 2024, forcing them to face humanity's greatest threat. Interesting show. This is from the creator, from the not George R.R. Martin, the novelist of Game of Thrones, but the showrunners of Game of Thrones, David Benioff and the other one, D.B. Weiss. So we know that they're great writers. Whatever you're going to say about the last couple seasons, just stop. We had more of the best television ever than the rest. All right. So you got to just admit that the show is fucking great, even though you didn't like the end. Okay. All right. Now that we've said that, this one is based on a book as well. I don't think it's based on a series of books. It's very sci-fi, very, very sci-fi. The visuals are excellent. Acting's pretty good. Storytelling is, I don't know. What is going on? Like what? And I don't know how much of this I should spoil. I will say in the 60s, someone in China gets a message from someone or something else and decides to call them into, decides to reply. That's what I'll say. And you kind of see where the show goes as it progresses, but it's got a lot of random shit. Like it's got this video game headset thing that's related to the main story. It jumps back and forth in time, which is very important to what's going on. And I think it's going to be even more important as the show unfolds. I'm 3 or 4 episodes in, and the decision scene, I was like, whoa, like this, there are scenes in this where I was like, all right, this is kind of cool. But most of the time, I'm like, this is a lot of stuff, a lot of randomness. And the multi-canvas storytelling, I dig. If you like Game of Thrones storytelling, where there's a bunch of characters and we take our time with each one, this show does it well. I don't think that there's one main star. I will say there seems to be one badass hero, but there's not one main star. And I like almost all of the characters. Kind of. I don't really care for most of them. I only like 2. But I dig how they chop them up. And I dig it. It's different. It's very different. It's not Game of Thrones level. I will tell you that. It's nowhere near that good. But it is interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have a season 2. Not only have I not heard anyone be interested in watching this, mostly because they have a bad taste of Game of Thrones in their mouths, but I think people should at least give it a shot. It's on Netflix right now. It's popping enough to try. Just don't expect Game of Thrones level goodness. Xmen 97. Not much to say about this. It's on Disney Plus Wednesdays. If you liked the original cartoon when you were a kid, you'll fucking love this. Me personally, I was more of an X-Men Evolution kid. I really, really like the show, and I loved the original. I just really, really got into X-Men Evolution. I'm not saying I want an X-Men Evolution revival, but I dig this revival. And it does follow themes of the 90s with today. And they're doing it through cartoon form and nostalgia and blah, 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 blah. It works. It really works. I dig it. So, yeah. Invincible has returned, and it's wild, man. There's a lot of shit going on. New episodes on Fridays. There are only 2 episodes left. Poppin' or not, I dig this second half of the season a lot more than the first half because there's so much crazy shit going on. There are a shit ton of characters. They have killed off a character. I don't know if that character stays dead. I was pissed that they killed off the character, but if you're I feel like everyone they've killed on this show comes back in one way or another. And I don't like that because there's so many characters in this show. And you got to just make room for more plot development with people we know rather than introduce us to any more, which they haven't really done, to be fair. But there's so many characters. Just kill off like at least 10. There's so many. Next, Chicken Nugget. You know The Fly, where the guy where Jeff Goldblum goes into a machine, like a cloning machine, not a cloning machine, a transportation machine, I think it was. And Fly got in at the same time, so now he's turning into a fly. It's a weird movie. Check it out. This is kind of like that, but it's extremely comedy. And when I say it's like that, I mean a woman becomes a chicken nugget. I believe it's Korean, and I was digging it for the first like 15 minutes, and the rest of it I was like, yeah, I don't know. This was fun, but I think I've had my fill. There was too much of, oh, she's a chicken nugget. What are we gonna do? Like, it was way too much of that, so I decided to stop watching. Check it out though; it's fun. I think if you're a stoner, you just watch it. Like, what? She's a chicken nugget. Maybe I should order some chicken nuggets and check out Chicken Nugget on Netflix. Go for it, dude. Just know it's not great. Next. And I'm not trying to be negative. I've said positive things tonight. Oh, all right. So I wasn't on last week, which means I couldn't tell you guys about the news that happened last week. The main reason I didn't do an episode, which I'll get more into later, is I didn't see any new movies in general, I don't think. So I was like, I might as well take a break and actually save episodes for movies that are slightly interesting for you to watch. And also in an episode of Popcorn Poppin' where I actually talk about movies, because I wouldn't have had anything to talk about. But I usually do news. This is news from a couple weeks ago, which it's still new, but I know a lot more things have happened. We will catch fully up with the news next week. But I also rushed to get this done, so I don't have visuals. So we're going to go through this quickly. Venom 3, The Last Dance with Tom Hardy moved from November 8th to October 25th, which is pretty bold because they have some competition. I don't know what that competition is. But I will tell you, it looks like Juno Temple and Chiwetel Ejiofor will be joining, which is pretty cool. New director Kelly Marcel will be taking over. Gollum actually directed the Venom 2, and Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis is awesome, and I'm not trying to put him just in the box of Gollum because he's a fantastic actor in general, but you get the idea. So that will be coming out October 25th. Weird to be a Halloween movie. I think that's what I meant by competition. Not too weird because Venom is like a horrific creature, but I don't know. I hope it really leans into the scary. That'd be fun. Neve Campbell's coming back for Scream 7. I did not see that coming. There's a lot of controversy with Scream because they fired Melissa Barrero, who was one of the Carpenter sisters, and Jenna Ortega bowed out due to scheduling conflicts. I think she bowed out because Melissa got kicked off, and she's trying to be out of controversy by giving a safe answer. But I really believe she didn't like the way that they handled that situation. I definitely didn't. I was like, okay, I quit Scream. I'm not watching another one. And then they got Neve Campbell back. I'm like, God damn it, that was a good move. They must have gave her the money she deserved and then some, because she is going to save the franchise. Watch. Although I think people will be like, well, where's Jenna? Where's the Carpenter sisters? Because I want to see more of the Carpenter sisters. But I don't want to see more of Neve. I'm just very intrigued with what they're going to do. But if it looks like just a money grab, which it absolutely is, I'm not going to watch it. But I mean, I didn't think I was going to watch Scream 4 when I first heard about it. So here we are. The Batman 2 was going to come out October 3rd of 2025. But it got moved to October 2nd. A full day before. Oh, wait, sorry. It is going to be coming out October 2nd, 2026. Batman 2 got pushed a full year. So if you like Robert Pattinson's fucking Kurt Cobain Batman, which I love that movie. I think the Batman with Robert Pattinson, aka Goth Batman. I don't know. I'll still work that joke out. I think that was the best film of any of the Batman movies. I don't think it's the best Batman movie, but I think it's the best film. It's such a great film. Anyways, it's not coming out October 25th. It's coming out October 26th. Salem's Lot. I don't know if this is going to be a sequel or a remake or what, but apparently they have made a Salem's Lot, and it's coming out on Max this year. That's all the details I got. Studio Ghibli renews its deal with Max and will premiere Boy and the Heron, the newest one that one director came out of retirement to do. That will be premiering on Max soon. So I am slowly but surely going through the Studio Ghibli films in preparation for Boy and the Heron. I love the Studio Ghibli films. I haven't watched them all. I've only watched like 4 or 5, including Spirited Away and Nausicaa and Castle in the Sky and Graveyard of the Fireflies, I think it's called, which is so goddamn depressing. That's my favorite movie, but I'll never watch it again. But I'm watching Kiki's Delivery Service, and I love it. I think I really, really like witches. I want to make a film about witches very badly. I love the craft. I love practical magic, which is super fun. But I dig Kiki's Delivery Service a lot. I think it's a really fun and cool idea. Anyways, if you want to watch more Studio Ghibli films, check out Max because they got them. They haven't released the premiere date for Boy and the Heron for Max, but I will keep you posted. The Bear season 3 is going to be in June, and they announced not only will they be doing a season 4, but they're going to start filming directly after filming of season 3 is over. Which, man, that's a tiring thing to do. And I'm wondering why they did it, and I think I know why. I think season 4 will be their final season. Usually when they do back-to-back seasons like this, that means that they had an idea for one long season that they're cutting in half because they want it to be the final one. So expect a huge cliffhanger with season 3 and expect news of season 4 being the final one because that's what I think anyways. I will tell you, Cousin is totally going to fuck Lip's ex. Totally. We'll talk about that some other time. Yorgos Lanthimos and Emma Stone's next film, which they just got done with Poor Things, will be Kinds of Kindness, which comes out June 21st. I don't know what it's about, but I thought you'd be interested in that. The Snowpiercer television series that I've never watched that apparently has a cult following enough to be revived from the dead will come back on AMC next year for their final season after being canceled by TNT. Props to you. Power Book 2 Ghost is going to end with season 4. Part 1 of season 4 will premiere June 7th and part 2 on September 6th. They also announced that a new Power book will be premiering called Power Origins, which is about Ghost and Tommy when they were younger. I think that's a pretty cool idea. Xmen 97 creator has been fired ahead of Disney Plus series premiere. He basically was the showrunner of the first season, and they kicked him off of season 2. So, I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting. The biggest news, I'd say, is there's going to be a Teen Titans live action movie. No one's really talking about this, and I think it's because people are pretty skeptical about the DC universe that's going on. But James Gunn's universe that's starting very, very soon will have a Teen Titans movie. I don't know, man. I'll probably watch it, but I'm a little scared. Kevin, I can show comments. Kevin Fox says, I'm glad PB2 is ending. Peanut Butter 2? Peanut butter. Power Book 2. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I'm not caught up. I started Power Book 2 after finally finishing Power because for some reason I stopped watching right before the final season. Oh, because I didn't have stars. I was so angry. And I eventually got stars and I finished it. I'm really interested in all of the spinoffs except for book 2 because I don't like that kid. I don't think that kid's a good actor. Granted, after finishing Power, I realized his final season, he got good again, but man, did I not like that kid in earlier seasons. I do dig the Power universe, and I really love that there is a universe for a black crime show. I love that. It's just, how many more stories are we going to do with this one? Well, let's do another universe like BMF. But in any case, this is even further fuel to the fire of me needing to catch up on the Power universe. Let me know what Tariq. Yeah, Tariq, Kevy. I don't like that actor. Although again, I'm not completely caught up on the book 2 series, so maybe his acting gets better. I don't know. What's your favorite? Let me know. Patty Jenkins is back for Rogue Squadron, which is, if you don't know Patty Jenkins, she did the Wonder Woman films. Don't lie. Wonder Woman 1 was good. All right. Wonder Woman 2, not so much. But I like Patty Jenkins. I think she's a good director, and I'm excited to see what she does with Star Wars. I think the internet is already going to cancel that show, though, or cancel that movie. I think no matter how good it is, people aren't going to like it. Back on the subject of Power, I hear Force is the best, which kind of sucks because you don't want it to be the one that stars the white dude to be the best show. But I hear it's 100% the best, and apparently the guy who show runs that, the studio stars, loves that show so much that they made a deal with the creator to make more shows outside of Force. But I've seen the reviews too, and Force is like the highest rated out of all of them besides the original Power. So I don't know, I find that interesting. Season 1 started slow, but season 2 is fire. Okay, I'm really looking forward to it. And it's funny because my Sid, Kevy, Sid got me into, after I finished Power, he's like, you got to watch the spinoffs because I want to know which spinoff is your favorite, because I don't tell people this, but Force is my favorite. Kevy also says it's authentic. The other Power book stories are a bit far-fetched. Yeah, and I figured they would be, especially Ghosts. All right, what else? Zone of Interest will be on Max April 5th. I highly recommend watching it. It's very quiet, and some might call it boring, but I fucking love that film. I don't recommend it to everyone because it's artsy, but it's very good. I'm not going to talk about that, and I'm not going to talk about that. All right, let's get into the television stuff. Back to our regular programming. What I'm watching right now that I've talked about at length, which I will not talk about at length again, I just want to let you know what I'm watching now that I highly recommend everyone else to watch. Shogun, best television of 2024 so far. Set in Japan in the year 1600, Lord Yoshi Toranaga is fighting for his life as his enemies on the Council of Regents unite against him when a mysterious European ship is found marooned in a nearby fishing village. Check the show out. The only thing that I have difficulty with that some may is I'm historically unsound, and this has a lot to do with the feud between the Catholics and the Protestants in the 1600s. Yeah. So I'm confused a lot about the politics of that's going on in the show, but it's so good otherwise. You can check the show out on Hulu Tuesdays. I think I'm an episode behind, so I think I know what I'm going to watch after this. Although I gotta sleep early. All right. I love this show, but I don't know. Kevy also says, yes, it is on Hulu. You can catch up right now. It's a mini series. It's thick. It's thick, and by that I mean a lot of history stuff, a lot of culture introduced. But man, is the culture so like vibrant isn't the right word, but I feel vibrant watching it, which kind of sounds like I'm getting hard watching it. I love the show. It's just very well made, and just try to stick with it. But also, if you don't like subtitles, you might not like the show because most of it is them talking in Japanese, which means you're going to be reading a lot. So definitely know that. And good. Yeah, check it out. Give it a shot. I think you'll dig it. Next, The Regime. I love this show. I love Kate Winslet. It's a weird show. Very weird. I don't know where it's going, but I'm excited for it. A year within the palace of a modern European authoritarian regime as it unravels. Kate Winslet and Matthias Schoenaer. Sundays on Max. I like the show a lot. I don't know where it's going. It's a comedy, but sometimes it's like scary about what this dude's going to do or what she's going to do. I don't recommend it to everyone. I would say watch the first episode. And if you like Veep, I think you'll dig this. It's a weird comparison, but I think when you watch it, you'll know what I mean. And yeah, I like subtitles too. Also because we're getting old. It's hard to hear everything. And also it gives you a better understanding of what's going on in whatever thing you're watching. And I think people can, I think with subtitles, people can multitask. They say, I can't concentrate on the film. I think if you just push yourself a little bit, you can learn to go up and down. You don't always have to read what's going on down there. You just, I don't know. You get what I'm saying. But a show like Shogun, you do always have to read because it's translation. Bad Batch, that's that Star Wars show I like. It's on Wednesdays on Disney+. Tokyo Vice, another, I'm getting really, I don't know if Asian cinema is like seeping into American culture. If it is, fucking dope, because there's a lot of Asian shit I watch right now, and I fucking love all of it. But Tokyo Vice, I've talked about at length. Watch it. Max Thursdays. I would recommend, I always want to recommend this more than Shogun, but it's not as fucking beautiful as Shogun and not as violent. This is kind of an action series, but definitely not as much action as Shogun. But check it out, Max Thursdays. And is that the last new thing? Oh, Curb Your Enthusiasm, final season. I'm very depressed. I love you, Larry. But the season's so funny. I love it so much. And I was very happy that Conan showed up in the last episode. If you haven't watched Curb Your Enthusiasm, watch it. If you haven't watched Seinfeld, you should watch Seinfeld, but you don't need to know Seinfeld to love Larry David. And sure, Larry is very old now, but he still knows how to make contemporary topics hilarious without being like cancelable, if that makes sense. Kevin says, I'm convinced that people who don't like subtitles went to school during the No Child Left Behind era. Yeah, people don't like reading. I talked with someone recently. I dig that people are into audiobooks, and I really want to be into audiobooks, but I feel like it's cheating. But it is a way for you to multitask, because I hate sitting down and reading a book because I feel like I have ADD. But I like the idea of listening to a book and multitasking, but the feeling of reading something and flipping the page and being done with it just feels so conquerable, if that makes sense. Anyways, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Sundays. Check it out. All right, here's the honorable mentions of things I didn't watch that you may be interested in. I know what you're asking yourself. Tony, why didn't you go see Ghostbusters Frozen Empire? Why don't you go suck a dick? Maybe I didn't want to go see it. You don't have to go suck a dick unless you want to. But I'm a fan of Ghostbusters. I'm not a fucking huge, ridiculous fan like a lot of people became more in the 2000s. And I'm not dogging on Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is awesome. I really, really loved the first two Ghostbusters. It's just people like worship those movies, and I didn't think they were that great. I just thought they were super, super fun. In any case, they did 1 and 2. The third one was a video game, and there was a feud between Bill Murray and Harold Ramis. Harold Ramis, he didn't direct the original, but he wrote it along with Dan Aykroyd. But Harold Ramis directed Groundhog's Day with Bill Murray, and I think it was that film that got them into the feud, if I'm not mistaken. But basically, Bill Murray wanted to make that film more serious. Harold Ramis wanted to lean to the comedy. So they kind of butt heads. But I kind of think that butting heads makes great works of art a lot of times. And that's why Groundhog's Day had great comedy, mostly comedy, of course. But it's kind of a dark storyline if you think about it. Fast forward to years later, right before Harold Ramis dies. The 20 years before Harold Ramis died, he couldn't convince Bill Murray to do a Ghostbusters movie because Bill Murray is kind of a dick. Like, he's apparently a very sweet, funny guy, but a lot of stories, especially recently, have resurfaced of him being a dick. I don't want to get into that. And if you ask me personally, like, I think him and Chevy Chase, I think if I had to choose between him and Chevy Chase, I'm going to choose Bill Murray, and I'm still going to watch Bill Murray movies. That's what I'll say. But I was pissed off that once Harold Ramis died, they made a new Ghostbusters movie, which when I heard about it, I'm like, I don't want to watch this. Harold Ramis is dead. But if you watch the trailer of, and I'm talking about Afterlife, the one before this one. Afterlife, when I saw the trailer, I'm like, this is different and this seems personal and like this seems really, really well made. And it was full of heart. It was a great like goodbye to Harold Ramis. A huge risk to use weird Tupac CGI of Harold Ramis's dead ghost in it. It was strange, but it worked. And the director of the first one was Ivan Reitman, and the director of Afterlife is Jason Reitman. So it's even more personal to him because his father did the original film. So there's just so much ahead going for it. It was about a family that's busting ghosts. And it just had a lot going for it. And then they make another one, which I was like, okay, that's an interesting idea. And then I watched the trailer. Shouldn't have watched the trailer. That's where Tony went wrong. It's very prevalent that, and I get that movies are in the business of making money and blah, 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 commercialism. But man, does this not look great? It looks like a great Mr. Freeze movie. But besides that, it looks like Godzilla, Jurassic Park, that last Jurassic Park movie. I can't even remember what it's called. What's it called? Old Dominion? That's a band. That last Jurassic Park movie where they brought back the old cast with the new. You know, we can only do so much, rehashing. And sometimes it works. And maybe it works in this one. But watching the trailer, I was like, I don't really want to watch this in theaters. I will watch it in streaming out of curiosity. But it just leaves a really bad taste in my mouth that it took Harold Ramis's death in order for Bill Murray to put aside their differences. You know what I mean? And that's not necessarily like factual. That's just what I believe. And it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. So you let me know if this movie's good. I haven't seen it. I will watch it on streaming, but it looks like a sellout. Like the last Afterlife was personal and this is money. But I will tell you this, rating wise for IMDb, which this was rated higher than Ghostbusters 2, but lower than Ghostbusters Answered the Call, the one with the SNL cast, the one that everyone hated. Now, if you do the math, Ghostbusters Answered the Call on IMDb rated higher than Ghostbusters 2. What world are we living in? This is in theaters right now. Another film in theaters, Problemista, with Julio Torres, Greta Lee, RZA, and Tilda Swinton. I hear good things about this movie. It looks kind of like a weird comedy. Check out the trailer. Let me know what you think. I think it'll be popping if you want to watch something weird. Now, this was the main movie I was going to see a couple weeks ago, but I heard really bad things. I still will watch it for streaming, but busyness and me having like a, I don't know, feeling was why I didn't watch it. The American Society of Magical Negroes. What a title. A young man, Aaron, is recruited into secret society of magical black people. I don't know. Those words together are funny to me. Into a secret society of magical black people. That's just funny to me. Who dedicate their lives to a cause of utmost importance, making white people's lives easier. It looks really fun, but honestly, the second half of the trailer was what left a bad taste in my mouth. And it was like it's a romance about him trying to get a girl with magic. Like, I don't know, choose your lane. But who knows? Maybe it's a really good movie. I'm really excited I like Justice Smith a lot, but I love David Alan Grier. I mean, come on. This is in theaters right now. Let me know what you think. Arthur the King, one of those dog movies. Mark Wahlberg's doing it. I'm sure it's good, but you've seen one dog movie, you've seen them all. I will say Channing Tatum's dog movie, I think it's called Dog, was pretty good. I'm not going to lie. Love Lies Bleeding. I hear good things. Gym manager Lou falls for Jackie, a bodybuilder who is passing through town en route to a competition in Las Vegas. I dig Kristen Stewart's newest shit. A lot of people give me shit for liking Kristen Stewart nowadays, but Kristen Stewart's not Twilight Kristen Stewart anymore, guys. She makes good films, I promise. Charlie's Angels, I couldn't get through, but I actually liked her a lot in it. In any case, this looks like a strange movie, and I'm not talking about this female's physique. I actually kind of dig that. Like, I dug in last, I really love that men get really, women hating men who hate women so much fucking hated Abby in Last of Us Part 2, which I don't have to talk about why, the character development wise, but she was buff and she just got ripped to shreds online. And I'm not saying it's funny that this poor actor is being ripped to shreds for working out, but I find it funny that men hate women so much that they have a problem with that. Like, who gives a shit? Like, hair and armpits, I don't really give a shit. I give a shit if it's like scraggly, but that's me. And who am I to tell what a woman should shave and what they shouldn't shave? But you see what I'm saying? Like, let women do what they want. So when I say that this movie looks strange, I'm not talking about the swole cum gutters on, do I have the actor's name? Katie O'Brien or Caddy O'Brien, but it just looks like a weird movie. This also stars Ed Harris, Dave Franco, and Jenna Malone. I've heard good things about this. If you like Saint Maud, it's the same director, Ross Glass. Check this out in select theaters now. Shirley, I didn't have time to watch this. I will watch this, though, and I'll report back. I love Regina King, and I don't know anything about Shirley Chisholm. I don't even know if I'm... Chisholm? Fuck, see, I'm not even pronouncing her name right. I need to be more historically sound, especially with Black history. In 1972, the first ever Black Congresswoman, Shirley, insert last name here so Tony doesn't have to mispronounce it, launched a trailblazing campaign to become the president of the United States. This was directed by John Ridley, who worked on 12 Years a Slave, and stars Regina King. I haven't heard anything about this film, but it's on Netflix right now. And I have watched the trailer, and I don't know anything about the real life Shirley, but I know that Regina King is crushing, acting like a completely different person. Check out the trailer. Oh, Irish Wish. Of course, I'm not going to watch this, but basically it's a Hallmark weird. Is it she wakes up at, it's kind of like a body switch. Remember Weatherman? Not Weatherman. Fuck, what's that Nicolas Cage movie? The Family Man. He's like rich and he has no family. And he goes, oh, if only, and Don Cheadle is in it. He plays like Ghost of Christmas Past or something. If only I lived a life where I would have decided to stay home and marry that girl. And all of a sudden he wakes up and he has a family and hijinks ensue. Cute movie. This is Irish Wish with Lindsay Lohan, where she wakes up as the bride to whoever. I don't know why I'm talking so much about this. Apparently this movie's really bad. Really, really bad. But so bad it's good. So check it out and let me know. Freaknik, The Wildest Party Never Told. I'm seeing bad reviews online, but I find Freaknik extremely interesting. I still don't watch documentaries, but this is one that I'm interested in that you might be interested in as well. You can check this out on Hulu, I believe. You'll Never Find Me, a horror film on AMC Plus produced by Shudder. On a stormy night, Patrick, a seemingly troubled man, is visited by a mysterious woman asking for shelter at his mobile home. As the night unfolds, their anxiety and mutual mistrust causing fear and paranoia to engulf the small RV. You can check this out on AMC Plus right now. Check out the trailer first. I like the setup. It is a guy in his mobile home who, during a very, very loud storm, hears a knock on his door, and it's a stranger he's never seen before, and she asks to come inside to ride out the storm. And it's a thriller, and it's suspenseful, and I haven't had a chance to watch it, but I do want to. You'll Never Find Me, AMC Plus. Russell Crowe movie called Sleeping Dogs, suffering from memory loss. I'm not going to talk too much about that. Palm Royale. I'm interested. I like Kristen Wiig. 1969, an ambitious woman aspires to cross the line between the haves and the have-nots to secure her seat at America's most executive, fashionable, and treacherous table, Palm Beach High Society. Granted, this looks like a chick flick show or a chick series. All right. What we need a name for women-driven series that's synonymous to chick flick, because that's what this looks like. But it still looks fairly well made. I don't know if I'm going to love it too much, but I love Kristen Wiig. You can check this out. New episodes. This is a television series, by the way. Apple TV Plus Wednesdays. Next, Manhunt. This is that show about Abraham Lincoln. It takes place right after Abraham Lincoln's been assassinated, and it's about them hunting the man that killed Abraham Lincoln. Too history-y for me. Apples Never Fall. I'm not that interested. I haven't even heard anything good about it, but I love the cast. It's such a great cast, but this looks like a Lifetime miniseries. End of sentence. You can check this out on Peacock. I don't know if the whole series is on Peacock or the new episodes are on Peacock, but Peacock. Girls on the Bus Go, Carla Gugino, Melissa Benoist, Christina Elmore, Natasha Benham stars 4 female journalists who follow every move of a parade of flawed presidential candidates. You can check this out on Max. I don't think I'd like it, but I love Carla Gugino, and I might go meet her at Detroit Comic-Con, or I'm sorry, Motor City Comic-Con. She's going to be there. Jax is going to be there. Jax's mom, Leela, is going to be there. Ron Perlman's going to be there. Motor City Comic-Con looks fun this year, but I think I'm going to meet Carla Gugino. Giancarlo Esposito, a.k.a. Gus Fring, is going to be there too. So keep that in mind. Netflix has Girls 5 Eva's new season. And stand-up wise, there is... Did I not add that show? I guess I didn't. Nope, I didn't. There is Rami Youssef's More Feelings, which is on Max right now. Tomorrow, Tig Notaro's Hello Again premieres on Amazon Prime. And tomorrow, Dave Attell's Hot Cross Buns will premiere on Netflix tomorrow as well. I love Dave Attell. I haven't listened to any of his stuff, honestly, since I was a teenager. I do dig Tig Notaro's comedy outside of stand-up. I just never watched a stand-up special of hers, so I can't really judge how hers is. And I love the show, Rami, but I haven't watched the stand-up. But just letting you know, maybe you'll like these. What's up with everybody holding a microphone, huh? Like, get a new lane, right? Looking off to the distance with a curtain behind you. It's so overplayed, stand-up. Anyways, what's coming out next week? Let's wrap this up, Tony. Let's wrap this up. I'll tell you what's coming out next week. Not a whole lot, except for Godzilla and Kong New Empire. Looks not great. I haven't watched full trailers, but I'm not that excited for it. Godzilla versus Kong was... it served its purpose. I'm sure this will serve its purpose as well. And Godzilla vs. Kong was very entertaining. It's just when you compare it to Godzilla -1, woo, buddy. So I'll tell you one thing. I'm going to be watching a lot of old Godzilla movies. I won't be watching the new ones again because I've watched those so many times. And King of Monsters still holds up. But I will watch. I'll watch Peter Jackson's King Kong, and I'll watch a bunch of old Godzilla movies. Getting hyped for this one. This will be in theaters Thursday. Will it pop? I think it'll be a good popcorn movie. So yes, yes. It just won't be like, wow, what an artistic masterpiece. Winnie the Pooh 2. This is in. I don't know if it's just tomorrow or I don't know. I can only find showtimes tomorrow at 7 p.m. for select theaters. That's playing Winnie the Pooh 2. They did it. That weird Winnie the Pooh movie they did do a sequel. It's coming out. I really want to watch the first one, but I've been told don't watch it. I'm like, yeah, but it looks like it's so bad it's good. And I've heard, no, it's so bad it's bad. I'm like, really? Oh, that blows. So I don't know. I'm interested. Let me know if you've seen the original one and if they're interested in the second one. Asphalt City. I feel like I say asphalt wrong. Is it asphalt or is it asphalt? With Sean Penn and Ty Sheridan as a young paramedic who gets a crash course in life-saving techniques while working with a grizzled New York City veteran. Check out the trailer. I think this looks very well made. Kind of looks like Training Day or Collateral, but with paramedics and not in one night either. Also stars in this is Carly Reese from True Detective, that UFC boxer, girl, boy, lady, woman, person. But good for her. Even though I don't like True Detective season 4, I didn't hate her in it. So I'm glad. I'm glad she's finding success. The Listener. Okay. Poppin' or not? I think it'll pop. I don't think it'll be for everyone. I would recommend watching the trailer and judging it by yourself. The Listener, I'm not going to recommend this. This looks like it all takes place with one actor with very heavy, like, sad moments and sad conversations. But I love this. Is also my wife who was kidnapped by Hollywood, Tessa Thompson. I'm in love with Tessa Thompson. Everything she does. Follows a helpline volunteer who is part of the small army that gets on the phone every night, fielding calls from all kinds of people feeling lonely, broken, etc. Someone put etc. on a log line? I don't think you should do that. This film was also directed by Steve Buscemi. He's actually a pretty good director. It's like Two Tall Trees. I can't remember. It's about a bar. It was a pretty good film. Anyways, he's a good director, and this looks interesting. But unless you like films like Locke with Tom Hardy, I love it. That's him driving in a car in one night and having phone conversations. He's so good. It couldn't have been done without anyone else. But some people would find it boring because it never leaves the car and we never see these other people he's talking to. Buried with Ryan Reynolds, same concept. It's all about him in the coffin. I don't think you ever see a storyline outside the coffin. And it was okay. And I love you, Ryan Reynolds, but it was just okay. But there's also, what's this movie called? I keep forgetting. Oh, The Guilty. You can check this out on Netflix. This was okay, and you have a little more to work with. Like, there's scenes where he talks to other people around him, but it's mostly him having phone conversations. So if you're into that, maybe you'll be into The Listener with Tessa Thompson, except it's a lot less like suspenseful, I think. But this is definitely different. But all these phone call movies remind me to tell you about this movie called Cellular. This was made in the early O's. It stars Chris Evans, Kim Basinger, Jason Statham, and William H. Macy. This movie's really good. I thought this movie's really good. I thought it was extremely underrated. I think you can rent it right now. I liked it a lot. Basically, this guy gets a phone call from a kidnapped woman. Jason Statham kidnaps Kim Basinger, and Kim Basinger learns how she somehow can only call one number, and it's Chris Evans, just some random guy. And she goes, "No, if you hang up, I'll die." So it's up to this random stranger to try to figure out how to save this woman. It's really good, guys. Check it out. Next. I don't think this movie will be great, but it's worth a shot, at least to talk about. In the Land of Saints and Sinners stars Liam Neeson. In a remote Irish village, a damaged father is forced to fight for redemption after a lifetime of sins. But what price is he willing to pay? In the Land of Saints and Sinners, some sins can't be buried. Is that the pitch that they use to get the fucking money for this? Anyways, great cast, though. Ciarán Hinds, Carrie Condon from Banshees of Inisherin, whatever, and Joffrey. That's Joffrey. That little weird looking dude. That's Joffrey. He's back, so he's probably a little shit again. But I hear the actor's pretty cool. This is in select theaters Friday. Poppin' or not. It looks like it. What's intriguing about it is the antagonist, which I can't really tell if they're bad or good. But the person that versus Liam Neeson is, not only is it cool that it's a female, that's kind of different, but also that it's Carrie Condon. I think she's an excellent actress. You can check this out in select theaters Friday. I don't know how it will be. I just find it interesting. I don't know about this. I don't think I'm going to watch it. The Beautiful Game. It's a feel-good movie based on a true story about Mal, who is the manager of England's homeless football team, who takes in players to Rome with the hopes of being crowned champions of Homeless World Cup. I can't believe that's real. And I shouldn't dog on it. I'm progressive. Well, I'm so progressive that it should be called the Unhoused World Cup. He brings with them a talented striker, Vinny, who could give them a real chance at winning. I saw the trailer for this and it looked a little too mushy for me, but it does look interesting. Stars Michael Ward from that one movie with Olivia Colman. I can't remember what it's called right now, but he's a good actor. And Bill Nye from Shaun of the Dead. I love him. And Hugh Grant, Christmas. The fuck's that movie called? Love? Not Love Actually. Is it Love Actually? Yeah, Love Actually. Love Actually? Actually, it's called Love, actually. Next, this is on Netflix Friday. I'm kind of excited about this, and I just found out about it today. Check out the trailer and tell me this doesn't look a little good. Renegade Nell, accused of murder. Remember that. Remember I used the word murder. Accused of murder, Nell Jackson finds herself forced to live on plunder and expedience with her two sisters. I should learn how to read. Helped by a brave spirit named Billy Blind, she realizes that fate has not led her astray by chance as she navigates war-torn Europe. This stars Louisa Harland, who I don't believe I'm familiar with. This is premiering on Disney Plus on Fridays. It looks fun and magical, and it doesn't look violent, but this woman's accused of murder. And I'm not saying Disney doesn't have murderous storylines, but I was just a little surprised that Disney Plus is going for something a little more adult. But I dig it. I'm not into the time period that this show is set in, but I think the show looks pretty good. I don't know if I'm into the magical shit of it, to be honest, but it still looks good. The first half of the trailer, you'll notice like, oh, this is about a woman who's kicking ass. In the second half, you're like, oh, she's kicking ass because a fairy's flying in her mouth? That's strange. But I'm down. I'm down to give it a shot. I haven't tried a Disney Plus show in a long time that wasn't superhero related or an old show that I liked. So I hope that it can regain the magic of something contemporary that not only kids can enjoy, but adults can enjoy as well. So let's check it out with me. Disney Plus Friday. Oh, and it reminds me of the Nevers, which I've talked about at length. I'll talk about it again someday, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, look into it. I like it a lot. I don't know where you can find the episodes anymore. It used to be on HBO, but they sold it away. So check it out. I love that show. All right, Parish. Giancarlo Esposito. I looked that one up before doing this. Desperate personal circumstances push Gray Parish back into a life of crime, working with a ruthless gangster, the Horse. Gray's family ends up in the crosshairs, and he risks losing everything he loves. This looks okay. It just looks like we've seen this 1,000 times. I'm very excited for Giancarlo to be starring in this. So I will give it a shot specifically for him. But check out the trailer and tell me it doesn't look like a show you've seen quite a few times. Also, no. Also, I'll give it a shot. This will be on AMC Plus Friday or Sundays. Excuse me. All right, this show's on right now. I'm angry because I forgot to move this. This show's on Hulu right now, the whole season. I don't think I'm going to like it, but this is something maybe your kids will like. It looks like, check out the trailer and tell me that this doesn't look like the most fun movie you could ever work on. It looks like they had a lot of fun making this. Eccentric best friends Davy and Jonesy are yanked through the multiverse via their locker. That's literally it. And these girls seem like they have really good chemistry as best friends. And it looks like a fun, like high school show. But it's multiverse shit and it's YA, so it's not for me. But it looks fun. So if you have kids, maybe check it out with them on Hulu right now. All right, next. Back to what's coming out next week. A Gentleman in Moscow. This will be on Paramount Plus Fridays. A Russian aristocrat is spared from death and placed on house arrest while Bolshevik revolution plays out before him. Besides the Bolshevik revolution bit, I do want to watch this specifically for Ewan McGregor and Mary Elizabeth Winstead, the real life married couple. I think they're married. But if you check out the trailer, it looks funny, kinda. but I'm mostly watching it for them too. I don't care about the historical plot line of it though. But I'll check it out. Paramount Plus Fridays. And finally, last but certainly not least, maybe a little bit, it's probably the least for me. If you got kids, I always try to implement something more for the family because I know it could be, and I always say this too. Parents, I know you want a break from your kids. So let me give you suggestions on what to put on TV while you can go do another line of Coke or something. I know all you parents do Coke. How else do you have all that energy? Fraggle Rock, Back to the Rock. I never watched Fraggle Rock when I was a kid, but apparently they're bringing it back. I think this is season 2, and the whole season drops on Disney Plus Friday. That's it. Thank you for watching. We started off with 0, but we ended up with like 4 or 5 sometimes. So apparently you guys are either just supportive of something you really, really hate, supportive and also slightly interested in what I'm saying, or just interested in what I'm saying and I should just keep going. Let me know in the comments. Let me know if any suggestions you want to know about. Also, one thing I should say, I discussed something called a watch party that's going to be happening on Saturdays. We're still in the works of it. We were going to open last Saturday, but that got moved. We're not comfortable with rolling it out yet. We're trying to get all on the same page of what the show is exactly, but I will be talking about that more in depth at a later date. So thank you for the support. Share, like, subscribe. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. I want to really, 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 really want to go to sleep.